Good day, everyone. Welcome to Global Government News. Today is August 23rd, 2010, and I'm Darko. Welcome to this War on Terror, Liberty, and Sovereignty news segment here. Finally, I'm just going to go ahead and try to make this video. Having a hard time here with YouTube uploading my videos. It's taken almost 6 hours now, and I've only gotten one video uploaded. And yeah, it kind of sucks because once I use screencasts, once I move on to a new video, if the old video never uploads, then that's it. It's a waste. It's not going to be made. So I'm just going to have to move on here to the next video and say thank you, YouTube, for screwing with me. If usually it's, it takes about 5 hours for it to publish, but now it's just not even processing or uploading. So thank you, YouTube. It says Mexican police arrested over mayor's murder. Says the murder scarred a part of Mexico that was supposed to be reasonably safe from violence and crime. Santiago is a picturesque town of waterfalls, colonial churches, and holiday homes for the rich. Its mayor, Cavazos, was a blue-eyed 38-year-old educated in the U.S., but it seems that no corner of the country is shielded from the relentless rain of drug-related bloodshed. Said the killers came for Mayor Cavazos in the early hours of August 16th when 7 SUVs rolled up and men in police uniforms descended on his palatial home. Servants stood back, terrified that their boss was forced away at gunpoint. On August 18th, his corpse was dumped on a nearby road. There was a mercy of sorts in the manner of his killing, shot dead with 2 bullets in the head and 1 in the chest, and sparred the mutilation and rape inflicted on so many other victims. The following day, hundreds of residents wept over his coffin at Santiago Central Plaza, lining the stairs up to the church with candles and holding signs for peace. Next article, Mexico police recover 7 bodies from mines. Police have recovered 7 bodies from 2 mines in central Mexico that authorities say were being used as a clandestine graveyard by drug gangs. Hidalgo State Prosecutor Carmen Archundia says investigators were led to the mine by a group of suspects, including 3 police officers arrested last week. Archundia said Monday the bodies were recovered over the weekend from a mine in the city of Pachuca, the capital of Hidalgo State. It says from a mine in a nearby town. Said in July, authorities recovered 55 bodies from an abandoned mine near Texco, a colonial era city popular with international tourists. So this isn't the first time it's happened, and I just like to say that I believe that when people say the Mexican authorities or government, they're really talking about the drug cartel. It's pretty much like the U.S., where the corporations are in charge of this country, which pretty much is a corporation. The drug cartels are the government down there in Mexico. So I'm pretty sure you're going to keep seeing this. Mexican police to patrol New York. New York, in a series of events which has caused wide notice in a storm of protests, the government of Mexico, through its consulate in New York and in the United Nations, has announced it will begin patrolling the New York City borough of Staten Island to safeguard its nationals there. The actions of Mexico come after a series of incidents the Mexican government terms bias attacks. Ironically, these so-called hate crimes have been perpetrated by blacks and Asians, indicative of rising tensions between various ethnic groups in the U.S. The Catholic Examiner and NBC New York both reported the Mexican government's intention to mount surveillance, patrol, and police in and around Staten Island communities of Port Richmond, which in recent years has seen a large influx of Mexican illegal immigrants. The actions of the Mexican government have caused Mayor Bloomberg and Police Commissioner Raymond Kelly to order what many observers say is the most concentrated police mobilization since the World Trade Center disaster. Nearly half of the United States considering Arizona-style immigration legislation from CNSnews.com. 22 states are now in the process of drafting or seeking to pass legislation similar to Arizona's law against illegal immigration. This is occurring despite the fact that the Obama administration has filed a lawsuit against the Arizona law, and a federal judge has ruled against portions of that law, a ruling that is now being appealed. UPI.com, U.S. to spend $100 million on Afghan bases. Says the Pentagon says it plans to spend $100 million on air bases or air base expansions in Afghanistan, with the construction efforts continuing into at least 2011. And it said, despite growing disaffection with the war and President Obama's pledge to begin withdrawing the troops in July of 2011, many of the projected installations have extended completion deadlines, the Washington reported Sunday. It says all 3 of the bases are for the sole use of U.S. forces. And they say in reports now that we're supposed to pull out of Afghanistan after there's a security force, an Afghan security force that's up and running, kind of like the Iraq force that basically said, okay, we'll take over, just give us some weapons to fight with. And of course, a lot of times they didn't even have the weapons to fight with or the training. So it has nothing to do with war on terrorism. It has everything to do with the war on sovereignty. And so now the Iraqis are worse off than they were before without electricity. A lot of them have birth defects from stuff that the weapons that the U.S. coalition forces are using. I just covered that article. So same thing with Afghanistan. A lot of people don't even want them there. And, we're just going to spread, quote, democracy. It says Afghanistan government, this is Afghan government, West source of corruption for Press TV. It says Afghan government has blamed the U.S. and its Western allies for most of the corruption in the war-ravaged country. President spokesman Omar Wahid says Afghanistan's foreign partners have paved the grounds for the creation of economic mafias. Well, of course. That's what the whole system is. That's what the corporatist or fascist system is. And that's what government is. It's a mafia. So, of course, yeah, that's what they're going to spread. Not democracy, the mafia, corporatist, fascist, globalist system. Our international, okay, don't forget, with central banks that run everything. Our international partners provided the ground for some people in Afghanistan to become unbelievably rich. Some people have become an economic mafia in Afghanistan, what he said. He says security deals between the U.S.-led forces and private security firms operating in Afghanistan top the corrupt contracts. One of those is a private security companies who have earned billions of dollars in contracts and are threatening sustainability of peace here in Afghanistan. Said the remarks come 2 days after Afghanistan officially launched the process of disbanding all domestic and foreign private security firms operating in the country. On Saturday, Afghan President Hamid Karzai ordered all security companies to be disbanded by the end of this year. Check this out. Most of the security contractors are believed to have close ties with Afghan warlords and are also accused of contributing to the rising number of civilian casualties in the country. Similar story, link will be posted. Check it out. Karzai, private contractors looting and stealing, working with terrorists. Next article is Pakistan starts IMF talks, seek help from floods. And I posted this in the either in the economic or the eugenics section. But basically, this covers eugenics. This covers economics. This covers war on terror, liberty, sovereignty. Because now they're going into IMF receivership. And why? Probably a 50% chance that weather modification was going on, helped cause the floods along with El Nino. And you know what? If they have these war climate weapons, or they're able to cloud seed and modify the weather, which I know they can, the U.S., Russia, and the U.S., they have the capability of modifying the weather and controlling it. They would basically help it not rain as much, stop the flooding, but they don't. That's so they can come in with vaccines, and so they can come in with their helicopters and their Marines, and then play the kind of the victor or the savior, and then of course IMF will come in to give loans, which they will then default on because it's not a country. I mean, yeah, it's a country of people, and I don't want to disrespect Pakistanis. I'm just saying that the government over there is a puppet regime that's pro-West, and it's basically the U.S. is funding their own enemies. I mean, the whole thing is messed up. The U.S. and NATO, or the U.S. pays the Taliban not to attack them, so when NATO forces go by, they get attacked because they didn't pay the Taliban. I mean, it's insane. U.S. drone strikes. U.S. drone strike kills 5 in Pakistan. This is from Press TV. At least 5 people have been killed in a U.S. drone attack in Pakistan's northwestern tribal belt near the Afghan border, according to security officials. And it says, and I just want to point out here, a lot of the movements are going towards southern Afghanistan and northern Pakistan, and that's where I was watching a video of, I believe it was Marines or soldiers, but I think it was Marines, and they were moving south, or just moving towards the Pakistani border, wherever that is, whatever direction. They were moving towards the Pakistani border, and that's what it seems That's where it seems to be going, according to all these reports, is that the quote, the militants and the insurgents and the Taliban are moving into Pakistan. So, but it's all just a bunch of rhetoric. That's basically where the new front is. Iraq and Afghanistan are pretty much done. They're just going to drag on Afghanistan like they did Iraq for a year, and then they'll say, "Oh, we're pulling out," and they will. They'll give the appearance that they're pulling out like they are in Iraq right now, and but they'll still have people there, and they'll have bases which are building right now there forever, and then Pakistan will be next. Said the attack hit the Dandi Darpa Kale area about 5 kilometers from Miranashah, the main town of North Waziristan district, AFP reported on Monday. It said an intelligence official in the area confirmed the attack and the death toll. The strike came after a similar incident left at least 4 people dead and several others injured in Miranashah on Saturday. Officials claim the U.S. drone fired 3 missiles and hit a house used by militants, but local sources said the house belonged to a tribesman. U.S. drone strikes have claimed the lives of nearly 1,000 people, many of them civilians, since August of 2008. So as the floods continue, and the UN is saying this is one of the worst disasters in history for Pakistan, the drones continue to bomb militants as the militants are giving aid to the Pakistanis. All right, we're going to pick it up here. U.S. ready to resume Iraq combat role if needed. Look at that. Hey, we're standing by as if we left. The top U.S. military commander in Iraq said local security forces will be ready for the next withdrawal of American troops next year, but the U.S. could return to combat operations if needed. Do I need to say more, guys? UNESCO chair admits organization was founded to push global governance. This is from August 21st, 2010. First quote here, I look forward to working with you in promoting good relations between the United States and UNESCO. This is Barack Obama to the president of the General Conference of UNESCO, Dr. George Anastopoulos. During a meeting in 2009, Mr. Babalola Joseph Yai, chair of UNESCO's executive board, admitted the organization was created to, quote, think global governance, said, you will recall, dear colleagues, that I said before, Ban Ki-moon, Secretary General of the United Nations, that UNESCO's role is to think global governance. That is why the organization was founded. Moving says these statements do not fall out of the clear blue sky. UNESCO's founder, Vice President of the Eugenics Society, and foremost transhumanist Julian Huxley explained why global governance is crucial in his UNESCO, its purpose, and its philosophy. Quote, even though it is quite true that any radical eugenic policy will be for many years politically and psychologically impossible, it will be important for UNESCO to see that the eugenic problem is examined with the greatest care and that the public mind is informed of the issues at the stake so that much that now is unthinkable may at least become thinkable. It says another founding father of scientific dictatorship, Sir Bertrand Russell, explained, every government that has been in control of education for a generation will be able to control its subjects securely without the need of armies or policemen. Carver's Bay enlists 9th grade. The entire freshman class at Carver's Bay High School has been automatically enrolled in the Junior Reserves Officer Training Program, or ROTC, a military-sponsored program that trains high school students in military discipline and concepts. Reuters, U.S. delays missile zapping laser test for the 4th time. An intercept test of a missile-destroying laser aboard a converted Boeing 747 aircraft has been postponed for a 4th time because of technical problems, the Pentagon's Missile Defense Agency said. Army Lieutenant General Patrick O'Reilly, the agency's chief, said the first 2 days reflected the safety concerns and a limited pool of target ballistic missiles that represent a perceived threat from countries such as Iran and North Korea. And of course, says Boeing provides the aircraft, Northrop Grumman supplies the megawatt-class laser, and Lockheed Martin supplies the beam control. So that's what good little fascism will get you. Iran launches assault boats with warning. Iran kicked off mass production of 2 high-speed missile-launching assault boats on Monday, warning its enemies not to play fire as it boosts security along its coast. Iran unveils robot bomber, promises hard and extensive response if Israel attack. Claims the robotic bomber with enough range to almost reach Israel. Running out of time here, officials unveil high-tech ray gun to be installed in county jail. That is awesome. DARPA testing new advanced nanotech armor. Cops cuff man who exposed holes in perfect voting machines in India. Iran to produce oil from Hegem field. That's a big deal. And the Bushehr nuclear plant totally safe.